I'm Chris King, representing the African American History Initiative. We are honored to be sitting down with NBA legend and nonprofit founder, Mr. A. Wilkins. Hey, Mr. Wilkins, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for agreeing to sitting down with us.
I'm happy to be here.
Good, good. So, May of 1962, it all began, right? Right here in Cartersville?
Yes.
So, let's start there. In your childhood, how was it growing up?
Well, I had a very, very loving family. I had one of the greatest mothers and father that you can ask for growing up. Unfortunately, my father was killed when I was about 8 years old, and it left my mother to raise me, who was a God-fearing lady, and she did an incredible job. I have 6 sisters and a brother, so we were a big family, but we were a very loving family.
So you went to White Elementary. What about the middle school here?
I went to Cass Middle School, and from there I went to Cass High School.
Did you begin your basketball playing in middle school or in high school?
No, I started my basketball career at White. Okay, and my coach was Coach Sammy Hood, who, was a very, very good coach. But not only was he a good coach, he was a good mentor to a lot of us. And again, we didn't feel like we were any different than anybody else. And he taught us a lot of values because we had several African American kids on the team, and he would pick us up, take us home. So I think he had an effect on me loving basketball and being a part of the team.
So you would contribute your love for basketball to Coach Hood?
Yes. And I say it because he taught us in a way that we enjoyed the game. Like, he wanted to win, but also he made the game fun for us.
Good. Now, were you always tall, or did you have a growth spurt? Because you're 6'10", you said, right?
Yes. Well, I was always taller than everybody else, but I wasn't as, just exaggerately tall. I think that for me, I felt like I was a little taller, but I was average. And I had the biggest growth spurt from my 11th grade to my 12th grade year.
Now, when you had the growth spurt, was it an awkward phase, or was it just something that you just ran with?
No, I don't think it was awkward. I think that I grew 6 inches over one summer. And I think what it did was it gave me, as from a basketball standpoint, it gave me confidence because I could do things that I normally couldn't do. And I knew that it changed my game, the way that I played. It made me a lot faster, and it made me jump higher. So it gave me an advantage over other people.
Okay. And when did you know that NBA was in your future?
From the time that I went to college, I was able to get a scholarship and go to Gardner-Webb University. And I knew that I wanted to be a pro, and I felt like that from talking to other professionals that had gone to Gardner Webb, that if I put the work in, that I could be a professional. So from the day that I stepped on Gardner Webb's campus, I let it be known that I wanted to be not only the best player at Gardner Webb, but the best player in the country, and that's what I set out to do. And by doing that, again, I put the work in. Like, I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would be in the gym at 11 o'clock at night after classes. But I knew that this was something that I wanted, and I was going to do everything within my power to make it happen.
Yeah. And I believe whatever you want out of life, you got to put the work in. You got to have that dedication and discipline. So tell me about your college experience. Was it all basketball, or was it, is that where you met your wife?
Well, first of all, from the time that I got in college, it was a great experience. I always wanted to do well in college, and I think one of the things that from high school, I was just doing enough to get by. Mm-hmm. So once I went to college, though, I said, I want to be successful in the classroom as well, and I made the honor roll my freshman year, so that was very important to me. Going to college, it gave me the opportunity to meet other people. Remember, I was from Cartersville, so I had met a lot of people, and I had the opportunity to go to a lot of bigger schools, but Gardner Webb was a small school, it was a Christian school, so it was a good fit for me. So with that being said, my college experience was great.
Good. Now, you got drafted in '84?
Yes.
Tell me about that night. That night you found out, okay, I'm going to the National Basketball Association.
It was a very good feeling, and for people that don't know, the NBA used to go 10 rounds, and I was drafted in the 6th round. Most 6th-round draft choices didn't, never make the team, because you have a first, second round, they usually generally make the team. I was drafted in the 6th round, and I was just happy to be drafted. They had told me that I would be drafted a lot higher, but I was just happy to be drafted. The situation with New York was that they didn't have a first round pick, so I was like the 3rd pick, and it was a great experience for me to go to New York. And remember, I come from Cartersville, Georgia. I went to Gardner Webb, which is a small school in North Carolina, and then to go to New York, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling.
And culture shock too, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Were you always a naturally good basketball player, or was it something that you had to develop?
Well, it was definitely something I had to develop. I think that when I first came to high school, I thought in elementary I was a good player, but then when you go to high school, you have all the good players from everywhere. So I really didn't have an effect on playing. I don't even think I made the team when I was a freshman. I think I played JV as a sophomore, didn't play a lot as a junior, and then I went from not playing a lot to being a superstar as a senior.
And that's about the time your height kicked in, right?
Yes, everything kicked in, and I say that to say that I continued to work. You know, I just wasn't good enough, but I continued to put the work in, and fortunately, everything came together. And again, I say that to say that it doesn't matter if you are the worst basketball player in the world. If you continue to work, you will get better. And if you want something, you can go out and get it. You know, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something. I had a lot of people that doubt me and say that I couldn't do it, but I know that I put the work in, and I always tell people that, you know, if you go in and work on something, like I would go in and work on a shot, and I would work on it for hours and hours. And when I got in the game, I was gonna take that shot, you know, and the coach would be saying, "Oh no, don't take that shot." But when he go in, he would be saying, "Great shot," you know. But I know within myself that I worked on it. So, but I say to all kids, you know, always work your hardest, be the best that you can be, and sometimes, you know, it's not for you. But if you really put in and you really want to be good at something, you can do it. And I'm proof that you can be whatever you want to be.
Amen. That gave me chills and inspired as well. In '89, you began the Eddie Lee Wilkins Youth Association. What made you start your nonprofit?
Well, I wanted to give back to the community. It was very important to me to give back because so many people I felt had given to me and to help me to be the person that I was. And I wanted to pass that on to the youth and to the community, which I thought was important, to come back and be able to give the other youth the chance and the opportunity to be successful.
Yeah. And I think community is so important. With just the word, you think about everyone, you know, coming up, you want to kind of pave the way, make things a little easier for them if you can. So is that what community means to you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's very, and that's what has made me continue to help the community. Because I think there are a lot of kids that don't have opportunities and that don't have the guidance. And I think if you can do anything to change just one person's life, then it's all worth it. And for me, I always wanted to make sure, because I didn't have a father growing up. As I said, my father was deceased when I was about 9 years old. So I always wanted to give the kids a positive person who they could always depend on, and that they would be able to say, well, hey, I can make it and I can be successful as well. One of the things about my youth association is that we use the community to unify. So I have camps, and we use basketball as a tool to get the kids in, but we teach them other things. We've had science camps, we've had math camps, we've had probably 50 celebrities to come in and meet the kids. We've had NBA Hall of Famers to come in. So basically what we try to do is we try to get the kids in with basketball, but we teach them other things. And and our slogan is unifying to make a difference. So what we want to do is I have developmental teams, and when you say teams or the basketball leagues, developmental to teach them the fundamentals. And also I have AAU teams that we have that, you know, compete at the highest level. And we've had a lot of success of helping kids get scholarships and help them to get to the next level. And we currently have 2 kids that have been in my program from Cartersville. Ashton Hagan, who's been in the program since he was 6 years old. He's at the University of Kentucky. And we currently have Trey Dooms, who's at West Virginia, who's also been in the program since he was 6 years old. So that gives me a great degree of comfort to know that, you know, that it still works, it's still helping kids, and that's what I'm all about. And the most important thing is no kid has ever come to camp and has ever paid 1 penny. It's always been free. They only pay for a league, and they've had all of these things. They've had over 50, you know, professional athletes, from Patrick Ewing to Doc Rivers, to come here, and the kids have been able to see that, and they have never paid 1 penny for camp. They've all been free.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. So, looking back over your life and everything that you've accomplished, what was that piece of advice that kind of sustained you through it all?
The most important thing is that that, you know, I spoke with a lot of people that I respected, and the most important thing that is to always be humble, and in any instance that you can always depend on the kids, helping kids. When you want to do something, help the youth, because they can change the world. And I've kind of lived by those rules, and I've always wanted to, like I tell everybody, I want my legacy to be that I help people, but that the kids could always, they could see me. Daytime, morning time, I was always the same, and I just always felt like that I was different growing up. I didn't want to do certain things, and that's kind of the advice that I was given to. The main thing is to always be humble and always treat people with respect, and they'll respect you.
And speaking of legacies, you are named an unsung hero. Like, how does that make you feel?
It made me feel very good to see you had, you know, Andre Llewellyn, who played, Ronnie Brown, who's been through the program. These are pro athletes. And now you have Vic Beasley, who've all been affected by my program. So that was very, it made me feel very good to know that I had affected their lives in a positive way, and they had been through the program, and now they have the opportunity to continue to do things for the youth. And that made me feel very good, very good.
And what would be some advice, one piece of advice that you would give your kids, your youth?
I would give them, as I said, to, you know, it's okay to be different. It's okay to, you know, let people know that the Lord leads your life, and it's all right to say that. And it's all right to be kind to people and to, you know, help each other. And that's what I want to let kids know. You know, when you have conflict, talk about it. Don't fight about it, talk about it. And I think that's one of the things that our program has taught the youth. In any conflict resolution, you know, we teach them to try to talk about things. So.
And to that young man that is looking to be a professional basketball player one day, what would you tell him as when he begins his journey?
Well, it will definitely be a journey, but I always tell them that, you know, you have to put in the work. It's not just going to come to you. You know, again, stay humble, put in the work, and put God first, and you can accomplish anything. But the most important thing is you have to put in the work. You have to work hard. My motto is I always wanted to work harder than anybody, but you can be what you want to be if you put your mind to it. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. I'm proof that you can come from a small town, from the country, which is what everybody says, and you can make it. You can make it.
You had a great support system during your journey from NBA player to now. Like, who is your biggest support system now?
My biggest support system is still, you know, my family, but my wife, Dawn Wilkins. She's very important because, as they say, she's, you know, I couldn't do the things that I do, the many hours that I spend working with youth without the support of her. And she is my, as they say, ride and die person. She rides and dies with, you know, anything that I do as far as helping the youth. She's with me. She's a very charitable person as well. And I think that the most important thing, I think God has given me so much, and He continues to bless me. And the more He blesses me, the more I want to
Be a blessing.
Yes, I want to give to other people. You know, it's always been important to me. This community, you know, I try to give back a lot to the community, but this community has given me so much. So I am just honored to be in a position to do the things that I'm doing, and I just attributed it to, again, it goes back to people telling me that you should always be humble, and that's why I've been in a position to continue to do things for the youth.
What are you up to now?
Well, I'm still, you know, I still run my youth association, which I'm happy to do here every summer. And also I have programs all over the metro area that I do. And also I am able to continue my support for the community. We're currently doing our uniform give back, and what it is that we give uniforms we pick a school and we give uniforms to them, and this year we'll be able to give them sneakers as well. So that is something that excites me, because I always feel like, and I always felt like when I had on a new uniform, it just made me play better. You know, it just gave me an inspiration, and I love to see the kids' faces when they put on like the nicest uniforms out, you know, they look good, and hopefully it inspires them to play better, but also it inspires them to do well in school because they know that they're going to get the opportunity to wear those nice uniforms, and you know, and most importantly, for the kids to know that someone cares. You know, someone is looking at them, and you know that they had an opportunity, because a lot of kids come up and say, well, can we get them next? And that's an exciting thing for them. So I'm still evolving on how to distribute it or how to pick each school, but it's something I want to continue to do and continue to uplift the community. Another thing is that, you know, when the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers come into town, those are two teams that I played for. So again, they give my youth association all of the stuff that the kids wear during the summer. The Knicks and the Sixers donate. They donate nearly $20,000 worth of merchandise to the kids, and we give it all out to them. And that's why you might see the kids with Sixers and Knicks stuff, and so I'm very happy about that. And also we pick kids randomly who don't often get to go. We'll take, you know, 5 or 10 kids, and we'll take them to the games and let them have that experience. So those are the things that I'm proud of. Those are the things that I'm doing now, and we have a lot of other things that we're doing, but we just want to continue to uplift the youth, give them hope, and continue to give back to the community, which has given me so much.
Needless to say, you are a great man, and you should feel very proud of yourself and all you've accomplished and are accomplishing. And I thank you so much for being a part of this. The African American History Initiative is, I think, important in Cartersville, that young men can look at this and feel inspired as well. Thank you.